It is 11 at night, it is freezing outside, and he is standing on that same corner again. He is not out here because it is fun. He is out here because something tells him he has to be. If you ask him whether he actually enjoys this, he will tell you the honest answer, not really. So think about how strange that is. He does not enjoy it, and he does it anyway. He has quit 4 times. Each time, he meant it completely. And this is not about being weak. It is not about a lack of willpower. Something inside his head has been quietly rewired, and it happened without his permission. Today we are going to look at exactly how that rewiring happens. Because addiction is not really a story about bad choices. It is a story about a survival system that got tricked. And once you understand the trick, everything about addiction starts to make a lot more sense. To understand it, we have to meet the single most misunderstood chemical in your entire brain: dopamine. You have probably heard it called the pleasure chemical. That is wrong, and the difference actually matters enormously. Dopamine is not the feeling of enjoying something. Dopamine is the feeling of going and getting it. It is the pull, the itch, the forward lean, the reason you get up and move at all. Evolution built this system for very good reasons. Your ancestors needed something that pushed them toward food, toward water, and toward each other. Find berries, and dopamine gives you a small spike. Nice. Remember this place. Come back tomorrow. That small spike is a message, and the message is simple. That was good for you. Do it again. Everything natural gives you a small, sensible spike like that. A good meal, a warm hug, a job well done. Small spikes, steady system. For millions of years, this worked beautifully. And then we invented ways to press that button directly. A cigarette delivers nicotine to your brain in under 10 seconds. Faster than you can finish reading this sentence, it is already inside the control room. And the spike it produces is nothing like a handful of berries. Your brain has no way to interpret a signal that large. It has never seen anything like it in nature. So it does the only sensible thing. It concludes that this must be the most important thing that has ever happened. More important than food, more important than sleep, sometimes more important than the people you love. Remember, this is the same system that once kept your ancestors alive. It is not broken. It is doing its job perfectly. It has just been handed the wrong information. A compass is not faulty because you held a magnet next to it, but it will still lead you somewhere terrible. Now here is where your brain does something clever that ends up hurting you. These little cups are receptors. They are how your brain hears the dopamine signal. Your brain likes balance. It does not want to be screamed at day after day. So after enough of those enormous spikes, it turns the volume down. It removes some of those receptors. Fewer cups, less signal, less shouting. From the brain's point of view, this is smart housekeeping. It is protecting itself. But now step back and look at what that actually means for the rest of his life. All those small, natural spikes now land on a brain that has fewer ways to hear them. Food tastes a little flatter. Music moves him a little less. A sunny morning barely registers. The whole world quietly loses its color, and most people never connect that feeling to the thing causing it. Meanwhile, the one thing that still feels like anything at all is the very thing that drained the color out. So now he is not smoking to feel good. He is smoking to feel normal. That shift from feeling good to feeling normal is the moment a habit quietly becomes a trap. Which brings us to the strangest and most important part of this whole story. In your brain, wanting something and liking something are two completely different circuits. Normally they travel together. You want the cake, you eat the cake, you like the cake. Simple. Addiction does something cruel. It pulls those two circuits apart. The wanting gets louder and louder. The liking quietly fades out. This is why he can stand in the cold, genuinely not enjoying a cigarette and still need it desperately. The part of him that enjoyed it left a long time ago. The part that wants it never did. Ask anyone who has been deep in an addiction, and they will describe this exactly. I do not even like it anymore. I just cannot stop. That sentence is not a contradiction. It is an accurate description of two circuits that have come apart. Your brain also does something else, and this one explains why quitting feels like being haunted. Every single time that big spike arrived, your brain took a snapshot of the whole moment. Not just the cigarette, the corner, the coffee, the song, the friend, the feeling of being stressed. It filed every one of them as a clue, a signpost pointing back toward the reward, which means months later, long after he has quit, he can walk past that one corner. And without any warning, without a single conscious thought, the craving arrives fully formed. He did not decide to want it. The corner decided for him. This is why people say a certain smell or a certain song can knock them sideways years later. The habit was never really about the substance alone. It was stitched into an entire world of small reminders. Now at this point, a lot of people will say, fine, that is cigarettes, but weed is different. And honestly, they are partly right. It is different, just not in the way most people assume. Cannabis works on a completely separate set of locks in your brain. Here is the genuinely fascinating part. Your brain already makes its own version of this chemical. It uses that system to help you calm down, to sleep, to feel hungry, and to let go of stress. It is a quiet, gentle, finely balanced system that runs in the background of your whole life. Cannabis floods those same locks with a far stronger key, and it stays there far longer. And your brain responds exactly the way it did before. It turns the volume down. Which is why heavy long-term users often report the same quiet complaints. Sleep gets worse without it. Stress feels sharper. Appetite goes strange. Motivation quietly drains away. Roughly 3 in every 10 people who use cannabis develop some real degree of dependence. And that number climbs noticeably for people who start young, while the brain is still being built. Because the front of your brain, the part that handles judgment and impulse control, keeps developing into your mid-20s. Adding a powerful chemical to a construction site is not the same as adding it to a finished building. So no, it is not the same as cigarettes, but different is not the same word as harmless. Now we can finally understand why quitting is so much harder than it looks from the outside. When he stops, he is not simply removing a bad habit from his day. He is taking away the only large signal a downgraded brain still knows how to hear. For a while, everything is genuinely worse. That is not weakness. That is the rebound. Sleep breaks apart. Patience disappears. Everything feels gray and slightly too loud at the same time. And his brain, being helpful, offers one very reasonable suggestion. You know exactly how to fix this. That is the trap closing. The cure it offers is the thing that built the problem. This is why people relapse, and it is also why relapsing is not proof that someone is broken. Most people who successfully quit anything did not do it on their first attempt. They did it on their 5th or their 10th. Every failed attempt was not a wasted one. It was the brain slowly relearning that the world does not end without it. And now, the part that genuinely deserves more attention than it gets. Your brain does not stay downgraded forever. Those receptors grow back. It is slow. It is not days. It is weeks and months of the brain quietly rebuilding what it turned off. And as the receptors come back, something remarkable happens. The small things start working again. Food tastes like food. Music lands properly. A perfectly ordinary morning feels like something worth having. That color was never permanently gone. It was only ever turned down. So if you are sitting there recognizing yourself in any of this, understand what you are actually dealing with. You are not weak, and you are not broken. You are running a survival system that was handed a signal it was never designed for. And that same system, given enough time and a little help, is remarkably good at finding its way back. If this made something click for you, or if you know someone who needs to hear it, share it with them. And tell me in the comments, what is the one habit your brain keeps telling you that you need? Take care of that brain of yours. It is the only one you get. I will see you in the next one.